Hey there, it's me obviously, and I'm recording this video after many of you requested it in order to share some of my tips and general guidelines on how to write a book, and in particular a fiction story, a fiction novel. So how the storytelling works based on my experience, obviously. So, just take my words as a friendly advice, like we're sitting here with a cup of tea and we're discussing writing. So yeah, so first up, what I feel like telling you in case you're considering writing a book is consider whether you are doing this because you love writing, because you have a story to tell, because you feel the need to express yourself through storytelling, or if you're doing this because you're trying to demonstrate something to someone, or if you're just trying to put some books into your curriculum. Because in case it's option 2, then it's going to go horribly, probably, because consider that you are now embarking on the journey of the writer, which is not simple at all. So if you're not even passionate about doing this in the first place, then it's going to be very difficult. So my first advice is sit down with yourself and understand why you want to do this. Then once you're convinced, once you're sure that you have the passion and you really feel this need to just tell a story and create a world and create people that live this story, then we can start writing. Consider that I have been writing for all my life, basically. I actually wrote my first book when I was 14 or 13. But anyway, that book was so cringe. I mean, my mom still likes it, and I don't know how's that possible. Probably just because it was my first book. Anyway, I can't read it now. This is also so normal, and prepare yourself because it's going to happen to you as well. Like, your first book is going to be something that in the future you don't want to read anymore, and you will cringe a lot when remembering it. But it's very normal because it helps you in your writing journey to get to know yourself. Know that the thing that matters most is the moment that you decide you're going to write a story and you write your first word, you are going to the end. You are writing it all, and don't let anything stop you. The most important thing is to get to finish that book. You need to finish, even if you have like a writer's block or things like that I'm going to cover, by the way. The most important thing is that you get to a final result, because that's going to give you a lot of self-esteem, and that's super important. If you want to start writing a book, the first thing that we need to have is a story to write. Okay, so I don't have anything prepared. I'm just gonna go with the flow of what comes to my mind. There are some important elements to a story that you need to establish first and foremost. So is it going to be a story that is moved by the characters, or is it going to be a story that is moved by the events? An example, a story moved by the characters would be like, oh, we have Mr. Kiwi who suddenly decides to go and escape from the city. So that's where the story starts. A story starting from the events will be like, we have Mr. Kiwi, who is a very normal person who spends his whole time at home doing nothing, when suddenly an asteroid crashes on his house. So obviously something needs to happen now. Know that usually in a novel, in a story, there isn't just one single storyline, but there are many and they are mixed up. Consider also that every single character that you're going to include in your novel needs to have a reason for being there. They're going to be persons, they're going to have their own storylines, their own development, and you need to care about them just like you care for the protagonist. Okay? First thing we want to do is take a piece of paper, a computer, a white document, whatever, and start telling yourself the story for the first time ever. So start writing. We have Mr. Bean, who wanted really to eat an apple, but he had no apples. However, there is the neighbor who has an apple tree in their backyard. So Mr. Bean decides to go and steal an apple. But there is a very nice lady there who catches him, and then things happen and the story starts developing. So, we started from something very simple, and then ideas started rationing, and that's exactly what you want to do. Start simple. Let ideas get through you from your head to your ends, and just free your creativity and write it all down in very simple sentences. Who cares? Just tell yourself the thing. Nobody's going to read this anyway. Then, once you've done it, doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. It probably won't make sense the first time, but get up from your desk, take a walk, drink some water, breathe. Once your mind is clear again, get down to your desk, read it again, now with a clear mind, and see what doesn't make sense. See what you can improve, add details. All the stories are about characters who want something and they can't get it for some reason. And this something that they want can be physical, can be philosophical even, doesn't matter. What we want to do once we have this huge cluster of information down on our paper, and remember, it doesn't have to be long, like 1 page is enough. It just needs to have all the information that we need. Define the first part, the second part, and the third part. The first part is where the story begins. So what kickstarts the event? It's something that needs to happen here. And most importantly, it probably needs to happen in chapter 1. Don't take time to show the world or to show the protagonist without nothing really happening. Because nobody cares about that. Because we're going to get to know the character, we're going to get to know the world as we go on with the story. Just get straight into the story. What's the spark that kickstarts the story that happens in chapter 1? Then we've got the middle part of the story where we've got the engines moving, something's moving. That's basically the major part where maybe we have a change of mind in the characters, where we understand what stakes are at play, what are the risks, we know what we want, we have a plan on how to get it. And we are moving to accomplish that plan. Then we get to the end part, the final part. Here we have usually the big battle, the big fight. The protagonists are finally fighting really for what they want. They exactly know what they want, usually. Or maybe they think they do, but whatever. There is that moment that is present in almost every story where all hope seems lost. And if it seems like the plan has failed and there is no way of recover, we're all going to die, the mission is failed, it's the end. Plot twist, it's not the end. Something happens. You blow the mind of your readers, and we get to the ending with this whole mood of a very big change that can be either positive or negative. I mean, we're getting to a solution. So the protagonist gets to something. It has to be something that brings to a closure. Once we have the whole 3 parts defined, or like we have a general idea of them, now we can be so bold as to try and divide them into chapters. You also get an idea of how many chapters you're going to have already. And then you can decide, okay, I want to write, 10 pages at least for every single chapter. So I don't know, we're going to have 30 chapters. We're going to have already a 300 pages book. Just as a general idea. What's important is to have a structure, because if you already know what is going to happen or what are going to be the crucial point, the turning points of every single chapter, you have no risk of falling in the writer's block. And now it's storytelling time. This is the time when you start writing, literally chapter 1. Right into the first scene. Accept that probably your first book is not going to be your best book. but it's going to give you so much experience and it's going to help you grow so much. You get to the end, no matter what, it's going to give you so much experience. You know what works and you know how to make scenes happen. You know how to create a bigger impact. Always keep this in mind. We writers have a sort of godlike power over the readers. The readers jump straight into the shoes of the characters. So their thoughts become the thoughts of the readers. Their feelings, their emotions, everything that they go through become part of the experience of the reader. Like they become part of the book. So at that point, you can manipulate their emotions, plot twist, kill away a character, a bad guy that becomes a good guy that becomes a bad guy, betrayal, put in the drama, play with emotions, make it sad, make it disastrous. I don't even know if this word exists in English. Crack a joke, make them laugh, make it ridiculous. The readers want to feel emotions. That's why they are reading your book. That's your job. Show, not tell. This is something that we hear a lot. So you don't want to say that Lucas is sad. You want to show that he is sad. So you're going to say, Lucas was silent. He looked down and, there is something about him that is a bit off because Lucas has never been like that. He's always cheerful and he's always happy and talkative, and suddenly he's very different, and also the other characters realize that there's something that's wrong with him. So I just wrote an entire paragraph where I said that Lucas is sad without saying that Lucas is sad, and basically writing is all about this. The biggest advice that I can give you is the moment you sit at your desk and you start writing, you're not at your desk anymore. You're not in your room anymore. You are in the book. You are in the scene. You are with those people you're writing about. So sometimes you may say, oh, I'm writing this dialogue, but it doesn't seem realistic. So do this. You're not yourself anymore. You are that character with that personality, with that past, with those motivations, with that goal in mind. So once you are in that situation, how are you going to answer to what the other character told you? You become that person. Writing is basically like acting. You're not doing it in front of other people. You're doing it in your mind and you're writing it all down. But basically it's acting because you need to become someone else. I hope I said everything I wanted to say because actually I hadn't anything prepared. Not to mention that I recorded the whole video and then my phone didn't record the audio, so I had to redo it all again a second time. Get yourself beta readers who can be your friends, your family, people who you met online. Anyway, anyone who you trust, who can read your book, like who can give you some comments on what you wrote and who can be very honest about it, and like trust them if they tell you that they feel a bit off about something, if they tell you that something needs to be improved, because they are probably correct. So listen to what they have to say and improve your writing. Use music when you write, not only if you are at a sort of writer block or you feel like the scene is a bit off and you don't know exactly how to get out of this trap that you find yourself in. Go take a shower. I'm not kidding. Take a shower. Play the music that reminds you of your book, and think about your book while you're taking the shower. I'm not kidding, it helps so much. I basically wrote my entire book under the shower, like in my head, and then just got out of the shower and wrote it on paper. So if you feel like you're stuck suddenly, you don't know how to go on, that means that the problem might be like 10 lines before. So maybe you wrote something that brought you here, but you didn't want to be here. So go back there, change it at something where you can go where you want to go, and that's going to help. Otherwise, change the weather. Maybe it's sunny, but the scene doesn't want sunny atmosphere. So put rain, put thunders. It changes the mood, and the mood plays such an important role in scenes. Know exactly where you want to go, to what turning point you want to get, and just go there no matter what, no matter how horribly you get there, no matter how weak or how lame your writing becomes, just get to the turning point. Having something down to edit instead of a white paper is so important, and it makes it all a lot more easy. Of course, if you have questions or if you feel like I forgot to say something, please let me know in the comments. I will answer it because I love discussing writing, so I will happily do that. This video is finished. I hope it was helpful, and yeah, let me know if it was in the comments or leaving a like or whatever. Thank you. Have a nice day.